Would I buy the Canon EOS R3? Would you? Why? Let's talk about it. Buenos dias and welcome back to another video, my friends. Hope you're staying healthy and safe wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my studio, my new makeshift studio here in my summer home in South Carolina. I think it's turned out pretty well. In fact, I'm really liking it. Let's talk today about the Canon EOS R3, my thoughts, its features, when it's going to be released, and so on and so forth. Is it a camera that you would buy? As a Canon honk, aficionado, fanboy, if you will, I am very vested, interested in Canon's pathway as far as their future of mirrorless lineup of cameras from the R to the R5, the R6, and now the newly minted or forthcoming the R3. There are two things that come to mind, at least to me anyways, when purchasing and wanting to know more information about a camera. And that is its price and its resolution or megapixel count. And those are two things we do not know. It could come in at 30 megapixels, a 40 megapixel camera, 50 megapixel camera, who knows? But it's gonna lie somewhere, I believe, in the high megapixel range, at least around the 50 megapixel mark. That is my thought on that. As far as price goes, prices are out there and all over the place, whether it's going to be a $5,500 camera all the way up to a $10,000 camera. Who knows? The Canon flagship camera, the 1DX Mark III, is priced at over $6,000 and it is not a mirrorless camera. Moving forward with all the new technology, I have to think that the bump in price is going to be at least $2,000. Pitting it at about $8,500 would be my guess. But I hope it's much lower than that, just so people of all likes and all interest can get into this camera. But again, it's going to be a pricey camera. So those are two things we do not know about the camera. However, let's talk about some things we do know. Let's talk about some details that are straight from the Canon website. The new Canon EOS R3 is built for speed, and I would not be surprised if it doesn't find itself in the hands of some of the professional photographers at this summer's Tokyo Olympics. With about a month away from the Olympics at the time of this recording, with a new stack sensor, improved autofocusing system, and electronic shutter, I gotta think that this is the perfect place. It's right to shoot all of those fast-paced events at the Olympics this summer. So let's talk about a few specific details. The stack sensor, for example, is going to improve distortion. The latest Canon EOS R series of cameras have notoriously had to battle rolling shutter or distortion. And this camera is going to be a data hound. It's going to process data much faster with its illuminated back sensor and improving that rolling shutter. So I'm crossing my fingers on that for sure. The improved electronic shutter fits right in with this new fast-paced R3. 30 frames per second, 30 FPS on this camera. That is superb. It's gonna catch all of those in-between moments that you may not have been able to get on the R5, the 1DX Mark III, or the R6 per se at 20 frames per second. It's just gonna be a much faster camera in that respect. In fact, you'll be able to use a speed light now with the R3's electronic shutter active. Oh, and one of my favorite things to talk about on all Canon cameras is the autofocusing system. With the new deep learning technology that Canon has instilled in its latest cameras, this is going to be no different, just that much better, with better face, eye, body, and head detection, and now the new vehicle subject recognition. Mind is going to be blown. I can't wait to at least test it out, even if it's just on a rented or borrowed camera. I'd love to see what this camera does with that kind of autofocusing system. Yet, the one thing that I cannot wait to see in action is the eye control AF. In fact, eye control AF is not anything new. In some of the 1990s cameras, similar to this Elan 2, this is a film camera, but some of that eye control AF was embedded in some of the cameras from the mid-90s, and this one does not have it, but the Elan 2E film camera does have that eye control AF. Now, back in the day, it worked great for some and not at all for others. And some of the things that can get in the way of this eye control AF is hair being over the eye. Let's see, when you're looking into the eyepiece, if you're wearing glasses or have a certain type of contact lens, just the list goes on and on. So for some people, it was reported that it worked really well, and for others, it just didn't work. So there's lots of reports out there from these cameras, but now in today's technology, with today's technology, I'm hoping that they're able to dial that in a little better. I still don't believe that it's going to be perfect, but the idea is for you to look through the viewfinder and simply look left, look right, look at the subject, and be able to pinpoint with your eyeball the subject and focus right in on that target, or at least that subject area. That is phenomenal to me. So as they start improving the camera, that is exciting to me, and that is exciting that they're bringing this technology and pushing it forward into this camera. A few other things worth noting, keeping in mind that this is not a comprehensive review of the specifications of this camera, are the rugged body, the low light performance, and the video flexibility that this camera has. For years, the 1D series of cameras have been known for their ruggedness and durability out in the field, and this camera is no different. The R3 has weatherproofing, it has a built-in grip, it has the ability to shoot horizontal and vertical, so you're going to have a camera that has a bigger form factor but still comes in fairly lightweight in terms of its structure and its casing. The low light performance on this camera is set to be improved with an exposure value of up to -7 and sometimes more in specific cases, and up to 8 stops of image stabilization, just like the R5 and the R6. So this is exciting news to be able to shoot in low light, and that's always been a difficulty or a problem with some of our Canon cameras when we get in very low light. So hopefully this is improved on the R3. And last but not least, glossing over just a few of its video capabilities, the R3 will shoot in oversampled 4K, Canon Log 3, and will be able to shoot internally raw footage. So that is huge for this camera. Again, I don't know about the overheating and whether this camera will have that problem. Will it be an issue in this camera? We will wait and have to see. And that's gonna do it. Those are some exciting things and exciting news coming down the pike, pushing technology into the future, into these Canon cameras, which I'm very excited about. How excited are you about the new technologies in these cameras and perhaps putting in future, let's say, Canon EOS R2, let's just say, cameras? Well, not the R2, I just mean R Mark II maybe? I don't know. That might be something to talk about into the future. What would be some of the features that you would love to see in some of the future R cameras at the lower end and at the higher end? Love you guys, and until the next time, peace.